Rio Tinto-backed aluminum company plans 1.5 billion Canadian dollars. Canada smelter project. Bloomberg. Major Quebec aluminum smelter announces $1.5 billion investment with new electricity deal. On July 2, 2025, Canada made its move. Bold, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. A $1.5 billion smelter expansion in Quebec was greenlit to reroute over 3 million tons of aluminum away from the United States and into Europe and Asia. This wasn't just about metal. It was a message, a response to Washington's decision to hike aluminum tariffs to 50% under Section 232, citing national security.
Going to bring it from 25% to 50% the tariffs on steel into the United States of America.
Within days of that tariff hike, U.S. aluminum premiums skyrocketed by 54%, hitting a record $1,325 per ton. American manufacturers were stunned. Auto plants in Michigan, aerospace suppliers in Missouri, construction firms in Texas, all watching input costs soar overnight. But Ottawa? It acted. Instead of retaliation by words, Canada countered with action, infrastructure, investment, and diplomacy. Hydro-powered smelters in Quebec locked in long-term clean energy contracts. That gave them low-carbon certification, making Canadian aluminum instantly more attractive to global buyers chasing climate goals. And that wasn't the only advantage. Canadian producers also benefited from years of quiet preparation, investment in logistics, clean tech incentives, and diversified customer networks all came together at the right moment. In Brussels, EU negotiators updated their trade protocols to prioritize Canadian imports. In Tokyo, aluminum buyers signed contracts locking in pre-tariff prices. Canada had just turned Trump's tariff wall into a launchpad for global expansion. A Montreal export analyst put it plainly, "The world wants clean, stable, tariff-free metal. Canada just delivered it." Meanwhile, U.S. industries were cornered. Nearly 44% of America's aluminum imports in 2023 came from Canada. That artery? Now restricted. Automakers faced stalled deliveries. Aircraft companies were forced to renegotiate. Production lines slowed. And Ottawa wasn't done. They rolled out a $10 billion tariff support fund. They matched U.S. tariffs with quota systems and procurement rules to stabilize domestic demand. And they fast-tracked deepwater port upgrades in Saguenay and Sept-Îles, welcoming 69,000-ton vessels bound for Hamburg, Osaka, and Rotterdam, bypassing U.S. logistics entirely. And the results? Exports to non-U.S. countries surged 5.7%, hitting an all-time high of 60.8 billion Canadian dollars in May 2025. Gold shipments to the UK, up 30%. Pork exports to Japan, rising. Pharmaceuticals to Italy, booming. This was not a detour. This was a new route being paved, east and west, not south. In Saguenay, cranes now run day and night, powered by Quebec's grid. Rail lines connect directly to smelters. Clean cargo. Fast loadouts. Global-grade logistics. While U.S. buyers struggle with costs, European and Asian customers are locking in stable supply, and in some cases, better deals than before. Even small Canadian businesses are benefiting. One packaging manufacturer in Ontario said, "We were 90% reliant on U.S. clients. Now, we're shipping to Germany and Korea. We didn't expect that, but the doors opened." For many firms, the tariff shock created unexpected opportunity. Access to international buyers has pushed innovation, logistics upgrades, and even new hiring across sectors like packaging, advanced manufacturing, and renewable tech. Trump's tariff strategy was meant to defend domestic supply. Instead, it fractured a key North American trade link and triggered an economic rerouting on a global scale. Now, Canada isn't just exporting metal, it's exporting stability, clean energy credentials, and reliable logistics. Meanwhile, Ottawa is using this leverage to shape EV policy, defense contracts, and climate alignment with its new partners. Quietly, its bargaining power is growing, not through threats, but by showing the world it can deliver. The stakes are enormous. U.S. industries face hard choices: absorb higher costs, reroute supply chains, or risk falling behind. Because every ton of aluminum Canada sends overseas is one less ton U.S. manufacturers can count on. This is no longer just a trade story, it's a shift in trust. Washington still matters, but Ottawa now commands a new kind of influence, powered by clean electricity, infrastructure investment, and strategic diversification. The big question: will the U.S. adjust? Or will Canada keep rising in the global metals market, one shipload at a time? If you found this breakdown insightful, hit like, subscribe to Brief State, and turn on the bell so you never miss these critical updates. Let us know in the comments. Has Canada outplayed the US? Or are we just in the early rounds of a much bigger trade war? Because what happens next could reshape more than aluminum. It could redraw the entire global supply map.